Well, right. So, hello, bonjour.
Hi.
Bonjour.
Let's kick this one off old school. This is an old school hogCAST special,
Right.
because I think we're all going to get personal. We'll get personal with this one. Oh, that sums it all up. To be fair, that was a short podcast, wasn't it? He actually said to the bishop, "It's a load of old soapy tit wank."
There we go.
Yeah. Right. So come on, guys. It's the end of the Mandalorian Series 3, which was supposed to be for Dismal Minus's Star Wars universe. That was supposed to be the one. That was supposed to be the way. And I rewatched my reviews. I kind of skipped through my reviews, and it was really weird to see episode.
When you say speed, wasn't this one where you're going? Yep.
That's it.
No, just
Then all of a sudden it gets to episode 5 and you blow your lid.
I proper blew my top.
That was worse than She-Hulk.
I know.
That was worse than She-Hulk.
I had my moment, but it was really weird to see. I went through the whole gamut of emotions during this season, and it shouldn't be like that, should it? It should be
Fell in love with Bo-Katan.
Yeah, episode 2.
Really hate Grogu.
I've done a thumbnail saying I'm a fan of Bo-Katan and all that, and I still am. By the way, I still am. You know, without making this an entirely slagging session of season 3, which it's got to be because it was so dire. It really was shockingly bad, but it was such a descent. It kind of started that episode 1. People had their people were having a hot take on episode 1, where I was going, "Oh, calm down, everyone."
Yeah. That was me. That was me, wasn't
it? Yeah, that was. It was all kind of going, "Well, calm down." If somebody introduces people into it, I didn't mind it a little. It was kind of like just an episode 1 summary.
Yeah.
Episode 2 kicked off. It ramped up.
Really, yeah.
And I thought, oh, all right. With hindsight, Bo-Katan had the better fight scene with the Morlocks and all the rest of it, but I still didn't mind that. Come on.
Well, I thought that was good, just to show how fucking like badass she actually is. She's a warrior, and she's a fighter. And I thought that was good.
All the Mandalorians.
Episode 2 is the one where Grogu done the escape, wasn't it, as well? The Mando goes, "Go and get Bo-Katan," and he jumps in his little pod, flies off, flips into the ship. I want to go there.
Nothing wrong with a flippy flip.
Nothing wrong with a
Jedi flippy flip.
Then
fine.
And then it just went off the rails.
Right. That's thank you, Liz. That was exactly what I was going to say. From episode 3 onwards, the most generous I can be is to say it was uneven.
That's generous.
I agree. I agree. It definitely was.
That's.
I mean, I keep using the word non-coherent, but you know.
But that is very generous.
Let's kick it off with non-coherent, Taters, because I agree, and you're the one who normally needs convincing. But I don't think you need me or Liz to say how shit this has been. I think
I've heard it weekly. Yeah, exactly. No, for me, again, like I watch a series, I judge a series, blah, 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 and I say that all the way through. I judge it when we get to the end. Knowing the way a lot of these things works, with these little threads that they introduce that seem to be going nowhere and then eventually turn into something.
Yeah.
This didn't do that.
No, it didn't, did it?
This had lots of little threads that went nowhere, and that was it. And it was just like, that's where the non-carers come from. It's like it's like, I don't know. I can't put it into words. It's just Yuck.
Even with episode 3, which I thought, all right, they've spent 38 minutes on Coruscant, short back and sides, and Dr. Pershing and all that.
Yeah.
Even my
and that epic chase through the train.
Yeah, but why? Why did they do that? What was the ultimate purpose of that? Just to erase Pershing's memory.
Why spend 38 minutes on that?
That's what I mean.
I get that they wanted to show us Pershing from another series, from another la. Why did they? The link with Order 66 and old Grogu.
Yeah. Again, went nowhere. Yeah. Oh, we met. What's his face? Jar Jar. I forget his name.
Oh,
Ahmed Best.
Ahmed Best. That's it. Darth Jar Jar.
Daft. Nearly.
Yeah. But the stuff with Pershing again. We had 38 minutes of a boring thing, which was just to let us know that they're going to erase his memory because Moff Gideon didn't want him telling anyone else about how to clone things.
And that could have been accomplished in 5 minutes, what they wanted.
Not even 5 minutes.
Yeah. Again, I'm in a generous mood tonight, and I just
good. There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't even need it.
Well, no. Yes, it could have been a passing comment from somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't even need it. And it's like with short back and sides, you actually didn't need any of her scenes at all. The only scene that you could have had was the opening to episode 7, when she creeps through the alley and just goes, "Oh, the pirates, by the way, they were supposed to have done this. The Mandalorians are trying to retake their homeland," and then Gideon just turns off the intercom and goes and talks to his holograms. That's actually all you needed from her. You didn't even need in the pirate episode when he goes to the head of requisitions. You don't even need her there. There's no point to her character. It just shows that there's someone on the inside. Yeah, and actually, if you hadn't have seen episode 3, and she turns up in the requisitions office being a bit weird, and then you see her later on with talking to Gideon, you go, "Oh, that's why she was weird." Okay, cool.
I think the whole point of that was to show us that there's a requisitions office, showing that there's logistics and admin, and it's really difficult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a struggle is in Republic.
You can't run a rebellion, or you're not a rebellion at this point. You can't run a new Republic without requisitions and admin.
The new Republic's been crushed by
bureaucracy.
But the thing is, though, Mandalorians, and this the one complaint I've always had about the Mandalorian is that they never just go A to B. There's always side quest, and that's what it did throughout season 1. But season 1, you had enough mystery there with what did Gideon want with Grogu, what's going on, Murden's Empire, and it's all new. So it seems like they're building on something. Season 2 is all about trying to bring Grogu back to the Jedi, find the home, find the Jedi. You get Ahsoka, you then get Boba Fett, you then get Luke at the very end. So it built to a nice crescendo, but it ultimately stops that storyline.
But I disagree. I disagree that it's side questy, because I went back straight after season 3 ended. I've just watched season 1, season 2 again. Obviously watching back, looking for inconsistencies there. And it's not necessarily a side questy story. Like we said before about old school television, you get a little adventure each week with one thread running all the way through. Going back through 1 and 2, that very much reminiscent of that. You've got one thread going all the way through with a little adventure each week.
So, but ultimately, there are side quests, even though there's little threads, etc. There are
literally one.
We've got to go here to get this. We've got to go here to do this. We've got to go there to do that. This season took the side quest aspect where it is sort of lower down in previous seasons. This season ramped it up to the max. It was side quest on steroids. This season was. And it's because they had no direction.
This season was absolutely, mishmash of, oh, let's do this. Oh, no, let's do that. Oh, no, let's actually do this. Like I say, season 1 and 2 just comes across as you've got your setup of, right, there's our thread. That's what we've got to get to by the end of the 8 episodes. And then each week it's just like, oh, let's have a little adventure over here. Oh, let's have a little adventure here. But all the while moving through that thread. to get to that end point.
Yeah,
it makes more sense.
It was the side quest. It was still side quest. I agree with what you're saying, Taters, because like you, I enjoyed. I had issues with season 1 and 2, but overall, I enjoyed season 1 and 2. And I think that's because it was, even though it's not just going straight A to B and you're going off to the side, it did have some sort of, even if it's minute, some sort of relevance to the overall story. Whereas this season, it didn't.
No,
this season it didn't.
It was just lost in space, really, wasn't it?
It was lost in something. It weren't space. It was...
The first 2 series were generally accepted as cool. It was the flagship of the Star Wars without the films, and you know, you've got your Bad Batch and your Tales of the Jedi and all the rest of it that are aimed at younger audiences and all that. I can't believe how positive I'm being at the beginning of this podcast.
There's time, don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or should we just finish it there?
Yeah, the end. So, but they was all very well received. But fundamentally, and my first question is, and it is a big one, it's the main one really, is what went wrong? That's my question to you, but I'll kick it off with, it was ill-conceived and poorly written, ill-conceived and ineptly realised. There was nothing. I don't mind by episode 8. I don't mind if there was a couple of loose ends that adds to the mystery. I don't mind that, and I don't mind every single thing needs explaining. But they are now lost in explaining everything. And I know I've mocked it week after week, but the serious point of it all, during my mockery, my hilarity, is the fact that they have to explain every single thing, and they're lost in that instead of, like, what? Well, what do you use to before? Because that leads on to one of my other questions is, you know, literally what happened.
So
what changed from beginning to end? But anyway, so
what
do you both think?
So for me, I think it was
wrong, like the major things that went wrong.
Yeah, so
tiny little bits so they didn't tie in with Return of the Jedi.
No, none of that. None of that.
But like fundamentals.
Overall, I think that the Boba Fett screwed them. Because your whole first 2 seasons was building towards Grogu being handed off to the Jedi and him completing his bit. At the end of season 2, you then get him get the Darksaber.
Yeah.
So then you can season 3 is conceptualized as Mando is going to then try and get all the Mandalorians back together. Fine, but there's 3 things that went wrong fundamentally. One was Boba Fett, in which the big. You're undoing your massive arc. Your big end into season 2 was he gives Grogu away and he goes off. Grogu goes off on his own path. You then undo that in a totally different show.
Yeah,
and that undercuts and undermines the weight and the gravity of that big finale where he has to give Grogu away. So you've got that issue. You've got another issue is that Grogu's too good for marketing, so you can't have a Mandalorian season without Grogu. When really you didn't need him in this season. It could have been Mando going off on his own, trying to find himself after giving away his son. You can have him try and go and visit, because he does think of him as a son. You can have him try and go and visit Luke.
As a character, just quickly, Liz, as a character, Grogu has the biggest arc.
Yeah.
I'm serious now. He gets made a knight of the realm.
That's true.
And he gets adopted.
Yeah.
He gets a robot.
Yeah.
And he uses the Force at the end, like,
yeah.
That little shit had the biggest. Nothing happened to the Mandalorian.
No, but and this is the thing, but this is the thing though. So the 3 fundamental things was, one, Boba Fett screwed it, because I think the 3 episodes. I honestly think season 3 was supposed to be episode 5 of Boba Fett, episode 6 of Boba Fett, and then the book of Boba Fett. So highlights or whatever you want to call it, like a quick extended version of the finale, and then you go into episode 2 of this season, and then you're already 4 episodes in, so you've got no filler. Then you've got the pirate episode, and then you'd go straight into the finale. So that would be that. But so it was screwed by Boba Fett. They can't get rid of Grogu because it's too good for marketing, and they just gave too much power and control and went off a first draft. Yeah. They're the 3 things that went fundamentally wrong. What do you reckon,
No, you are spot on. Grogu, again, as far as I remember reading back when it happened, the marketing department were like, no, we can't get rid of Grogu's. You know, obviously the writing was on the wall about the money, and they needed to make money everywhere they could. So it was a case of, no, can't get rid of Grogu. Grogu's our sort of bestseller, so keep him going. And that's what screwed it big time on that storyline. The rest
you could have had weight to that. You could have added weight to that. So you could have had it with Grogu not being there at the beginning, but then halfway through the season or towards the end of the season, Mando's in trouble and he senses it. Then you go back to Luke and that on whatever planet they're on, and Grogu's sort of sensing it, thinking like that, thinking I might need to go and help him, and then Luke and Grogu go to help him. That's how you get the reuniting. And then Luke hands Grogu over, saying, "Look, he's not letting go. He's got attachments, etc., etc." Maybe that could have been a better way. I don't think he should have been reunited at all, but maybe that would have been a better way to do it. Add some more weight to it.
Very possible. Yeah.
I mean, one of the fundamentals of American TV and cinema is when you're running out of ideas, put a child in peril.
Yeah.
And the hero
or an animal,
has to rescue the child in peril. But bearing in mind how delicate a creature Grogu is, at no point are you ever thinking the little thing's in danger. At no point do they craft in any kind of scenario where you're thinking, oh wow, you know, they just add some jeopardy to the
again. I think the nearest we got to that was season 2.
Yeah. But the thing is, as well, is
they could have done it
with
so
Grogu. They've
it.
tied themselves in knots with Grogu as well, because when you want him to be a baby, he's a baby. But when you need him to do something, he magically does it.
Yeah, because he's 50.
This is the thing. So, but then, if he's 50, he should be starting to talk by now.
How do you know?
No, but he should be. But if he's essentially like
a George, you know, don't forget.
Yeah, but he's 50.
Counted these aliens.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but
we have them for breakfast.
Yeah, but if you look at it, right,
that's why there's not many of them left.
He's 50 years old, and he's essentially the age of 2.
Can I just point out that he's still very, very young?
Yeah. So that means that Yoda, who was like 900 years old, if he's 50 years old and he's the age of 2, when he's 100, he's the age of 4.
Yeah.
So times that by 9, he's basically 38. So you're basically telling me at 900 years old, Yoda was basically 38. They've kept him as a baby for way too long.
We assume 50 equals 2.
Unless he gets a massive growth spurt all of a sudden, and then within a year he turns into a teenager.
Yeah, and he's 6'4".
They've slowed his development right down to fit the story.
I am Groot. Oh, and then he's a teenager. I am Groot.
But they've slowed his development down to fit the story. So when you need him to do something, he'll do something. But when you need him to be the cute baby, he'll be the cute baby. And it just doesn't quite weigh up when you need him to do more. As he's doing more and growing and developing his powers, the character should be growing and developing and should be aging. So at least a word or two or something. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise it just doesn't come across right.
Right. So so digging back through the shit I got in my head.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the speech patterns of the species, i.e. Yoda and Yaddle and now Grogu.
What is the name of the species, Taters?
Do what?
There's no name. There is no name.
The name of the species? Do we know?
Nobody knows.
No, there's no name.
Nobody knows.
Oh.
George Lucas doesn't even know.
Oh.
He never named them. He left it as a mystery. But what he did say was Yoda's speech pattern wasn't because that's how that species speak. Yoda's speech pattern was to honor his master. Yaddle's speech pattern, which was just plain English or basic, as they call it in that galaxy,
yes,
matched her master. So therefore, Grogu's speech pattern will match his master. If his master doesn't say much, Grogu won't speak.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be Grogu's first words. This is the way.
Probably. Well, yeah. that was the way.
Grogu's song is not yet written.
But the problems as well, again, if what's been put out online is to be believed, and again, I don't know as much as anyone else, they didn't have enough time. They rushed it.
How did they rush it?
Well, I don't know. Right, I haven't got the inside track. All I know is from what I've read. All I know from what I've read is Jon Favreau requested 4 more months for writing, requiring an extra 6 months for shooting, and he got told no.
But he's had since season 2.
We waited 2 years for this. We waited.
Yeah, season 2 was premiered at the end of 2020.
Yeah. So we waited 2 years for this, but
that's no excuse.
I can only tell you what I've read. I don't know the ins again. Like I say, I've got no inside track.
They've gone off the first draft. They've gone off the first draft, and even that as a first draft is despicable. To be honest.
Again, I think it's them trying to not necessarily delete the sequels, but to remove parts of the sequels that they don't feel fit. I think there's obviously, there's agendas there by certain people within the company that you've got to fulfill this, and they're trying to delete those as well and get rid of these agendas and get back to some coherent stories. But they shouldn't have done it in this program.
I think he lost 3 episodes of this season to Boba Fett and quickly had to write 3 episodes.
Very probably. Yeah, very probably.
That is a useful excuse, Liz.
But it's not an excuse.
Well, it's not an excuse, but if you go off of something like that, so you say they had 2 years. They put all the time, obviously, into writing and shooting Boba Fett. If they had a plan for Mando season 3, before Boba Fett was a thing, and then Boba Fett come up as a side episode, whatever they call it, I don't know, spin-off. That was the word I was looking for. Boba Fett come up as a spin-off. They then put time and effort into writing Boba Fett, and then all their work that they set up with Boba Fett got fucked, and then they had to go back and rewrite Mando.
But that doesn't make sense either, because
they've still had 2 years.
I'm not making the excuse. I'm just saying.
On Boba Fett, but look how bad that was. This series 3,
like,
yeah. So after Mandalorian episode, season 2, Boba Fett occurs.
Yeah.
Wow, what was they all on? Like, that month that they made that, and then Mandalorian. That's a continuation of the Boba Fett experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what I will say is, as a properly fundamental problem that the Mandalorian will have that they do not address is the fact that your main character is encased in armor and a helmet he can never take off. Now, Judge Dredd has the same problem. You never see his face. You don't have to. But the stories are about the world and the characters around him. And I was up for that at the beginning of Mandalorian, like with episode 2. You've got Bo-Katan, and she's taking her helmet off. Like, let's not go there and be that this bit when I keep saying helmet. I'm going to keep repeating. I'm going to keep saying helmet. All right, just calm down, everyone.
How does he polish his helmet if he can't take it off?
I said, do that.
There he is, buffing his helmet again.
Do that. The armourer buffs the helmets, and
she got the good job.
Apparently, there were a lot of scenes where she was buffing. There's no amount of buffing for series 3, is there? That you could have
hammering away all the time. She was
hammering away. She was hand carving helmets, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I must say, I know we're just skipping ahead, but the fact she used her hammer in the final battle while she was with on a jetpack, that was for me hilarious. in that final battle.
It is hilarious, but I thought that was the only way. So you got two opposing armies,
in
the same armor with the same weaponry that can't impregnate their armor.
Yeah.
How boring is that?
Well, so
got the upper hand. They're both going whoosh whoosh, and it was all very well done through CGI. One thing I will say, the main thing in this series is they spent some money on the CGI, the special effects.
Yeah.
And apart from the Escape from Order 66 episode with old Jar Jar,
yeah,
green screen behind him when he was on his little.
It's one of those little. It's one of those little cars that you have outside the shop. You know, you put the pound in.
That's it. Yeah.
See,
and then just put a green screen behind it.
Right, but when you have got, and this is another fundamental about trying to craft the story. So you've got your main character encased in armor and a helmet. So there's no emotion. There's only so much you can make your voice sound angry, or I'm in love, or I care for you, whatever it is. There's only so much you can emote through that screen. But added to that, you've got the fact that even the enemy is now all your mates are encased in the same armor and the same weaponry. Your enemy is encased now, by the time we got to the end of the series, is encased in the same armor and the same weapon.
Didn't they touch on that though? Didn't they touch on that in this season? I'm sure there was somewhere where they're talking about Mandalorian Creed states that they can't make weapons from Beskar to penetrate Beskar. But Moff Gideon doesn't have those restraints.
Oh,
so
I don't know, but
he made weapons from Beskar.
And I did like the bit, the last episode, where he's using a knife and he's getting under the armor and all that.
Oh, yeah, your little vibro blade, yeah.
Or when he had the guns and they was getting knocked out of his hand, you know, even the stunt coordination on some of the scenes was good. You can get through it, but you can't have two opposing enemies.
No.
How boring is it? The same amount of tanks and the same amount of infantry and the same Navy and the same Air Force. There's nothing there. Again, just boiling back to the question about what went wrong, the fundamentals of what they're trying to set up as a drama, they've tied themselves up in knots.
And there's no urgency.
Oh, wow, yeah, go on, Liz.
But there's no urgency to any of it, is there? Because at the end of the day, to get the story going and to get the story going around, you need to have the urgency there. So even with, say, for example, Gideon managed to build his secret base on Mandalore, but they couldn't get the forge to work, or something along those lines to make more Beskar. So he's then hunting down Mandalorians. The Mandalorians are getting taken out left, right, and center, and they're trying to find the armorer, which is the trap for the armorer potentially. But in the meantime,
to fire up the forge.
Yeah, but then in the meantime,
kidnapper.
You've got
episode.
And then in the meantime, more Mandalorians are getting killed off. Yeah. So then they've got to get together. That's when Bo-Katan can get the Darksaber, etc. They've got to get together because they've got to go back and find out what's going on. And it gets a bit of urgency before the Mandalorians become extinct. Something like that would add more urgency to the story throughout.
At the beginning of the series, Liz, you're saying at the beginning of the series, like bring Moff Gideon in right at the start. They keep wheeling him out at the end of each series, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh God, like really?
Wait until next season.
Yeah,
well, wait until next season.
He's been
one of his clones has survived, hasn't it? Let's face it.
I mean, do you think he's only got one? Do you think he only had one facility?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it was the one that opened his eyes as IG-12 went.
No. And how do we know that's even the real Moff Gideon that died?
IG-12 went.
Yeah, but how do you know that's even the real Moff Gideon that died? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. That could be a clone. Absolutely.
And but the thing is, it's
the typical madness. Fuck.
The fundamental thing is as well is that they've got a rough story. And they've gone, it's only going to be 2 episodes. We've got 8 episodes to fill here. So they've just done random crap for the other 6. Really, that's all they've done.
There was a lot of cool scenes. There was a lot of cool scenes throughout.
Cool scenes, but
cool scenes.
Highlights.
When we were speaking in the week list,
one of
like I
my
said,
opinions.
cool scenes don't make a show.
No,
But what were the highlights?
Oh, most of the fight scenes were really good.
I think they were very well staged.
That's what I'm saying. Most of those fight scenes throughout the whole season 3 were really good.
I agree. The CGI was
the fight scenes for the finale.
What they created with the starships and the stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever there was the dog fights, even with the whole Swamp Thing, the pirates and all that.
Yeah.
They were nicely done. And even even when they was after the raptors up the mountains, that point of view shot they was doing, like as you saw, like one of them jetpacking up, and you could see the background behind them. Earth, like as they was
the Maverick shot.
They did do. And when that battle with the two opposing armies in the last episode,
that was very Clone Wars.
Where
Clone Wars.
Kind of long shot and then close up, like it's a bit blurry and they focus it.
Yeah.
But that's all done in the computer. So at least people are thinking about what would make this look cool. And I like that. I did enjoy that side of this series. With Dismal Minus Star Wars, that was a notch. That was a step up.
Yeah.
In effects.
You can't make a series out of that.
But you can't. But anyway, that was a highlight for me. But there weren't many, was there? Because you're
no, that's what I'm saying. A lot of the fight scenes.
Highlights.
The highlight for me was when he was going through the force fields, fighting 2 at a time. It was stupid, but I
call back to Phantom Menace.
I thought it was staged very nicely.
Yeah, it's call back to Phantom Menace. Very good.
Yeah, it was staged very nicely. I liked when the Mandalorians were jetpacking into battle. Bo-Katan got the Darksaber out. I liked that initial sort of, and then they all come up and they all start fighting. I like the initial bit. I think out of all the fight scenes, the most stupidest one was the Praetorian Guards versus Grogu. But other than that,
it wasn't really a fight scene, though, was it? Wasn't really a fight scene. I mean, you ended up with little Grogu, as you call him, Hog, the bag of sand, who in season 1, was it season 1, lifted a mud horn that fuck knows how much weight that thing weighs. But that little, like, 2-kilo pipe that fell on him, bit of a struggle.
Who said they didn't manage to save him, didn't it? That's why they did that.
What script writer older than 14 would write a scene thinking that is a decent escape from the Praetorian Guard? Think of
Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau.
This is the thing I can't get over.
See, I still think there's interference. I really do. I still think there's interference.
Big time. Yeah. But they're all adults interfering. And I wouldn't mind if certain aspects didn't work. But none of it works.
No.
It's like they're all working against each other. It's like KK's working against Favreau, he's working against her, and no one's bothered, and everyone's saying, well, all right then, if this doesn't do well, you'll be gone. And KK is saying, well, no, if it don't work, you'll be gone. It's not working. Like nothing.
Yeah, there's not many highlights. I mean,
there aren't.
There's not. I mean, even an episode like episode 2, okay, Mando gets saved twice, and then Grogu has to go and the opening should have the opening to episode 2 should have been the end of episode 1, etc., and all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, he falls and he drowns at the end.
Yeah.
He falls and he drowns. It's stupid.
I'll tell you a good scene, if we're going to talk about highlights, but I know it's only one scene. It could have been, I would have liked to have seen it a bit more visceral, but the big Mandalorian with old Painless, with the Praetorian Guard, when he's having it, and he's got trapped outside. And suddenly you see a flash of what could have been with a Mandalorian Series 3, uniting all the tribes of different Mandalorians. And they're like in the last episode, they're all hardcore. They're as hard as fuck. And they're fighting, and they've got the guns and jetpacks and dark sabers and hammers. And and they show it But you see a glimpse in that penultimate episode, episode 7, where they're trapped, and it's such a pathetic setup to get him there with a Praetorian Guard. But that was for 90 seconds very well accomplished, as I've been told. No, I'm not going to go there. It was 90 seconds, like really well, but that could have been that could have been a hack and a slash and a slow descent, and it could have been him having to sacrifice himself to save the others. It wasn't, was it? He was just trapped on a ledge and being murdered. When you think about it, rather than him saying, and he kind of does say, "Oh, don't worry, you will run away. I'll stop." But it didn't land, did it?
No.
It didn't. But that was, I thought, for the meat, I was thinking, no, as he was fighting the Praetorian Guard and losing his weapon and all the rest of it, and one was stabbing him in the back and all that. But like I say, it's very, very brief.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is there was glimpses throughout, but overall, like we said, there's some cool scenes. And I think when, like in episode 1, because it gave us enough Star Wars, you kind of forget the story. And then when you dig down, and I was the one to do it from episode 1, I was like, whoa, hang on, this is a bit off. And for me, it's for when you watch something first time and it's glaringly obvious some of the plot holes. I would still say the best episode this season was probably episode 7, purely because when the first time I watched it, the plot holes didn't bother me as much. Whereas every other time, even this episode, the finale, how did Grogu double back?
Oh yeah, how did he know where?
Yeah, how did he double back? Because he was going off with Bo-Katan, then all of a sudden he's not there. Did Bo-Katan not notice? Wasn't she not thinking? Is she not thinking? Oh shit, Grogu's now in my care. I've now lost him.
One thing wrong with the last 2 episodes, you don't mind. I don't care if Star Wars or not.
Where did R5 come from?
I'll tell you what, the bit that made me laugh with R5 is he comes flying in. He comes flying in from that cavern, I should say. Sorry, comes flying in from the cavern, lands on the little ledge, looks over the cavern that he's just been flying into, and then starts shaking. It's like you've got rockets.
He shivers. He goes, "Oh, that's high up." what? From 1,000 feet up.
It's just what the fuck? Oh, lucky I didn't fall down there, eh?
I liked him peeking around the corner.
Yeah.
As the mouse went by, the mouse is going on patrol, and he's going. Ooh.
Yeah. I like the fact though, when Bo-Katan get out, they just go and walk around the garden for a little bit.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
I know where we can go. We're waiting for all the reinforcements. Yeah. I know where we can go. I'm going to show you my garden.
I'm going to take you down my allotment.
Yeah. We're going to go for a little stroll. Be a lovely afternoon. We'll have a cup of tea. Then we'll go back and take them out.
And the sun,
Mandalorian Tayters.
The sunlight is coming through the cursed earth of Mandalore. All the sun is shining. There's rays of sunlight on all the greenery. And then the next scene is the fleet coming through these rain clouds, the barrier along Mandalore. They go, wow, it's all grey and raining. And I thought, where did the sunlight? They must have been bouncing sunlight off of mirrors, like in what was that film? The Tom Cruise Legend, where they're bouncing the sunlight off the mirrors. They must have a little chick in the clouds, and there's little. Oh, anyway.
I've got a question.
Go on. Is that the highlights?
That's the highlights. I'm going straight into it. What was the worst episode?
Oh God,
I know my one.
The worst of the worst was definitely episode 3 for me.
Mine
just was boredom, just the boredom level of it being so long.
Mine was the Jack Black and Lizzo one.
That weren't great. That was definitely a very close second.
Because
Jack Black, Space Lizzo.
I think I'm with Tayters on it. Whereas that episode was so dull, like literally so dull. There was no momentum, nothing. Like the whole series, there was no momentum. But the Lizzo, Jack Black one, I've got to admit, I was falling around the floor. Like it was a bad episode, but not. There was an hilarity to that episode.
Yeah, it was funny.
That episode 3 it had nothing. It was such a vacuum.
Yeah.
38, and it was 38 minutes. I timed the fucker as well to do my review on that episode. 38 minutes. It went on and on and on.
Yeah, it's shocking.
But it was the drag factor that got me. Whereas a lot of the other episodes are actually pretty short in comparison. You can get past the scenes where it's like, that don't work, that's shit, but it's just short scenes. 38 minutes of nonsense was just like, it's fucking boring. It was boring.
Electric lollipops.
That was about the only thing that come out of it.
Yeah.
If I ever get a strip club, I am calling it the Electric Lollipop.
Lollipop.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's come out of it.
Or a rock band, a rocker band.
Glam rock, yeah.
Right. The Dark Saber.
Yeah.
Thoughts.
Snapped like kindling, didn't it?
Yeah. Like a crisp, like a bag of stale crisps or something. Just like,
yeah.
So did you notice that he had he had a hand in as well, in his hand?
Oh no,
so,
it'll be all right.
Yeah, her hand was fine, but he snapped the Darksaber.
Mm.
It's like, nah. It was just. I'm surprised they did it. To be honest,
I was shocked. They did it.
I'm shocked they did it. It's just, where do they go forward with it now? Is it a sign of things to come? Is it a sign of? Let me think. Is it a sign of that we are, or they are, not we are, they are saying, right, okay, we're going to start not deleting Creed, but taking the superstition out of it. So the Mandalorians can all come together under one belief, rather than having the Children of the Watch and the pacifist side and all these clans that believe slightly different things, but they all believed in the Darksaber. Is it a way of saying, right, okay, that's the first thing to go from the old-fashioned thinking. Now we can all start moving forwards one. I don't know. That's the only sense that I can make of it, of why they would destroy the Darksaber. Because if you reforge the Darksaber, it's not the original Darksaber. Therefore, it doesn't have any meaning.
I just think they thought it was a cool scene. I don't think they're intelligent enough for that.
Yeah. I think I agree. But what, can't they make another one?
Well, they can, but it's not the Darksaber. It would just be a Darksaber. The Darksaber that belonged to...
At this point, no one cares, but I've got to say that I thought that was one of Filoni's favourite things that he created, and one of the...
Filoni didn't create the Darksaber. George Lucas did.
Did he?
Yes. So originally, when the Darksaber was introduced into Clone Wars, it was meant to be just a long vibro blade. So they had little knives that they have that vibrate. It was meant to be a long one of those. George Lucas basically said, and he's gone on record saying this, it's just like, you can't have a weapon that matches a lightsaber like that. You can't just have a normal sword that isn't equivalent to a lightsaber. Therefore, he has to make a Mandalorian lightsaber. They got rid of the vibro blade idea and put in the Darksaber.
Because I didn't think Lucas had anything to do with that. I thought
that was Lucas. That was Lucas during the Clone Wars.
I thought that was Filoni's pet project. Darksaber.
No, it was Lucas and Filoni. Yeah, it was Lucas and Filoni was in there as well. But yeah,
that was Lucas. That was all Lucas. Nothing to do with Filoni.
What, the Darksaber itself?
The Darksaber had nothing to do with Filoni. The concept of the Darksaber was all down to George Lucas. So yeah, that was Lucas's idea again, because originally Tar Vizsla was meant to have a vibro blade, a long vibrating blade. Yeah, lucky boy. It was. We won't go there. But yeah, it was Lucas's idea that, like I just said, you can't have what is a standard sword that vibrates matching the power of a lightsaber. So
I realised we got something wrong as well with the Darksaber.
Go on.
The history of the Darksaber. So we were saying how there's not no rightful owner.
Well, again, if you go by Creed,
but
what did I get wrong?
We got it wrong. It does end up with Darth Vader, and he kills himself. But Maul actually loses to Sidious, but he still somehow retains the Darksaber. So if you're going by Creed, Sidious actually should have the Darksaber.
No, because you have to die.
But he defeats him.
To take the Darksaber, you have to kill him.
Okay. So
yeah, they have to be killed in combat. Yeah, to win the Darksaber, you have to kill that person in combat, which is how Maul got the Darksaber from Pre Vizsla, because he actually killed Pre Vizsla. He chopped his head off. So,
but then in Clone Wars, he gets defeated by Sidious, but he survives.
Yeah, but he survives, exactly.
Yeah.
And what a shame! And what a shame the device.
So, was that your chair?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So based off that, then, Mando giving the Darksaber to Bo-Katan does not work.
No, absolutely not. No, that's what I was saying. But beyond the fact that he's giving it away because she beat the person that beat him, it wasn't his to give away in the first place. If you are following Creed to the letter, Creed says you have to kill your opponent. The last person that had the right to own the Darksaber, because of who killed who and who killed who, was Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader, however you want to look at that.
So yeah, I think it's I think it's good that it's ended, because I think they dragged it out for too long with that.
Well, I mean, sorry, just something that I just remembered. When we were talking about Favreau saying he was rushed, did you hear that this was originally penned for 12 episodes?
Oh God,
no.
Oh,
whether that was pre-Boba Fett, I don't know. But I did hear that this was penned for 12 episodes.
Oh,
and this wouldn't. I don't think this story would condense down into a movie.
God, no way. This story would condense down into one
episode.
A TV movie. An hour and 20 minutes max.
I'm not even exaggerating. And it's only because.
And even with that story, once it was all edited down, there'd still be a lot of issues with the story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nothing happens.
Too many threads.
Right? You know, you talk about this Creed and that with the Darksaber and blah, blah, blah. If it interests the fans, why snuff it out?
That's why I do think that there's meaning to that. I do think there's meaning to that we're going to get to. But
if there was going to be meaning to it, make it a part of one of the end episodes. But there's something that led up to it. Let the audience know that, oh my God, how important the Darksaber is. You only see it a couple of times.
Yeah. But that's it. Yeah. I mean, if they would have brought it in, say mid season and destroyed Darksaber mid season, episode 4, episode 5 at the latest, you've then got some story to move forward with around that Darksaber being taken out.
Bin jarring gives it away.
Bin jarring
diminishes. It diminishes the power of whatever they've built up through all the films and series and blah blah blah. But if you're following it all, disappointing must that have been to just have. There was no power to it. He just went.
His Iron Man hand.
She went and then it's this done. She was on her knees, doing the superhero power pose, going no.
See, the thing is, you would, as we've just said, condensing the story down. We know they're not going to do a movie and they had to do season 3. If you was looking at what to fix to make season 3 work, we've thrown out a few ideas, but if you actually looked at it, okay, we can say it's going to be episode 1 is going to be episode 5 of Boba Fett, etc., cut out the shit, move it forwards. Even if you condensed it down, got rid of all the side quest stuff and just had pure story, there's still a lot of issues with that story. I don't think this season is actually fixable.
No,
I generally don't, because then if you cut it down into a movie with what you've got left, none of it's going to make sense. There's nothing you can do to fix this season. No. This season is dead. It's terrible.
And because even Kenobi was fixable.
Yeah, because people, even that they put into a movie and that was received more.
There were fans. There were fans that were doing
it. Fans that edit it. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, how would I try and fix season 3? And I definitely sort of pinched stuff from the Boba Fett episodes, but and have that to start off with, and I'd introduce Grogu a lot later, etc. But using what's already there and trying to edit it in a way, there's some quick edits that you could do to help move the story along and get rid of this, add that in, move that to there, etc. But still, fundamentally, all you're doing is putting glitter on a turd.
The story's flawed. The story,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and that's all you're doing. You can cut it down as much as you want. You can cut it down into an hour and a half, 2-hour movie. You can cut it into 3 episodes. It's still not going to work.
No,
it'll just be more cool scenes altogether.
That's all it would be.
That's all it'll be.
Let's go fight scene to fight scene to fight scene to fight scene.
It'll be more cool scenes next to each other instead of an actual story.
And I thought Andor was slow. Like overall, I think everyone agrees that all right, it was 2 episodes too long, a lot of walking and talking, which we all know. Dismal love in Star Wars and in Marvel. There's an aspect to the creative talent, the team of writers now that just have to walk and talk and sit down and
explain.
Exposition. They can't drive. Nothing can be driven forward with action. And I don't mean fighting and pew. I just mean with just be in a car or a spaceship like while you're talking, and there's a meteor storm, and you're going, oh my god, I've got to dodge here, and you're giving a piece of information that this next scene relies on. That's what momentum is. So there's something about the writing that is so dull that nothing is like that scene in the last episode where old Axe is doing his rocketeer up through the atmosphere. That I was thinking, you're kind of going, yay.
Yeah.
He got on the ship, didn't he? And he went, you lot, come on, go, you lot, you fucking get in the drop ships. I'm going to launch this. I'm going to they're going to attack me and I'm going to do a suicide mission. Go. That was the first time in 8 episodes that anyone had some oomph.
Yeah, a bit of urgency. Yeah.
Even old Giancarlo, he's such a good actor. And he could have been, introduce him in episode 1 as the big bad, off of the end of, forget Book of Boba shit, end of season 2.
Yeah.
He's still the big bad that you've got to sort out. And then tease us with Dr. Pershing, not for a whole episode, but then give us short back and sides. He's working on the inside of the New Republic. Then give us all the other shit and seed that into all the. But give us him at the beginning.
That in itself would have made that episode a little bit more exciting.
Because he's probably too busy doing Kaleidoscope, to be fair.
If we knew that she was working for him, we then see her actions as we're going along. It's making it a little bit more, oh, she's going to get caught.
Yeah, but then you're going, boo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Boo hiss to the villains and hooray.
Question. So you've done Mandalorian season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
You've been screwed over by Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got a fresh slate. Season 3 hasn't been written yet, and we've been put in charge of season 3. What would you do?
I don't know.
What would be your fundamentals? What would you do?
Well, the fundamental. I mean, so coming off the back of season 2, Grogu's gone to Luke. Yeah, Grogu's out of the way. He's not part of the thing. Obviously, we'd still have Cara Dune on. I was about to say Nidavellir, but that's wrong. But yeah, that's the wrong place.
Hammer. She's getting Force Hammer.
Don't go there. Navarro, Cara Dune's still on Navarro, so we don't need IG-11 back. He's gone. He's done. He blew himself up. Moving forward with the relationship between obviously Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, with the Darksaber, that sort of like elephant in the room. Oh shit, I own it, but I don't want it. And yeah, just starting to reestablish the Mandalorians from that point of view.
So basically the same plot points. We got the Darksaber. We need to reunite the Mandalorians, and we want to try and get our homeworld back.
But I think that's what
that is
season
the
2
bullet
was alluding
points.
to. The end of season 2 was alluding to.
And that is the logical way to go.
Yeah.
So of all the ways you could do it, they've landed on what they've done.
Yeah.
Because that's the logical way to go. Keep Grogu out of it, but they got screwed by that. So the marketing department are going to let you take Grogu out of it. So Grogu's got to come back in somehow, but you can do it in such a more interesting way.
I've just reminded myself of something, actually, talking about Cara Dune.
Instead of Luke going, you've got to choose. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, don't they?
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it just doesn't make sense that he's made him do that choice. None of it makes sense. There's so much more interesting ways that you could do that. And to have Grogu come back into it at some point, because he's going to have to, because the marketing department and they want to sell more toys and all that sort of stuff. But you can have that reunion mean so much more if it's done in the right way, where they're apart and you're almost following their separate stories. You're following Grogu with Luke, you're following Mandalorian, trying to get the Mandalorians back together. But something brings them together where their worlds collide again.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And the urgency comes through it. When you're delivering weekly episodic television, unless it's a story a week, like the old school sci-fi shows, but they delivered in story every week.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't mind it, because say, for example, something like Stargate, something like Star Trek, individual stuff each week, but it made you think, it was engaging. When it's just stupid shit, it doesn't make you engage. So then you lose your momentum week on week. You need something to drive it forwards each time, and something develops in the overall plot in each episode. And if you don't have that, people lose interest. But there's so much more stuff they could have done just to sort of build it so much better. You can't save it. You can't save it.
And how this stuff, without swearing, how this kind of storytelling content, how it gets approved.
There's that.
At any given stage, you both know by now, I don't understand it. How it can...
No, I don't think anybody understands it.
And I know we was
the person approving it doesn't understand
it. Even on, do you remember like the old series? You have your Battlestar Galacticas and your what was the showrunners of that stuff back in the day? You'd always see their names at the end of the series. There was 2 of them, but you knew that whatever the creators underneath them, whatever stories they wanted to tell about whatever characters it was, whether it was Incredible Hulk, whether it was Battlestar Galactica, whether it was a $6 Million Man, whether it was Charlie's Angels, right? They had to deliver. You would have people above them going, no, make it better, make it better, or just refine it. Not necessarily this is shit, but refine it. Make this, end the first ad break on that, or end the second episode on that. Let's do a 2-parter in the middle of the season. All these things that just added to the flavour of the overall thing is so completely lost. I can't understand how a global corporation can be so bereft of talent. And I think they really are.
It's agendas, though, isn't it? It's
yeah, but it's
I mean, I'm not being funny. Yeah. We know they don't have the talent because they've just lost $5.5 billion. Or they've got to make back $5.5 billion.
But
if they had talent, they wouldn't be in that situation.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but it's also arrogance as well, because you've got someone with the career and the history of Favreau, and then you've got someone with the history of Filoni, where they have delivered good stuff over the years. They've delivered some good shit. So you've then delivered 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, which have gone down very well, despite issues that I've spotted and other people's opinions. Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 did well. you then get to the point where the arrogance sets in and you think, I can just throw whatever I want out there without being checked. That's why this season felt like a first draft. No one's watching what they're doing.
I also think there's more to it. I also, what you're saying is correct, but I do think there's more to it from, okay, you've done really well with these first 2 seasons. Now we want a piece of it. We want to get involved. The higher ups, the slightly above John Favreau, Dave Filoni. Yeah, we want to.
But you say that
you shouldn't really be getting involved unless they say, like I just explained with the old school stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on here? You know, the editor of whatever, the oversight of whatever's going on. That's where your KKs and your Feige's come in. They go, right.
But weren't all the rumours before this? Weren't all the rumours before season 3 got released that KK had nothing to do with it? That was what all the rumours were saying.
Yeah, that was the rumours. Yeah, John Favreau apparently said to Iger, if she's involved, I'm not doing it and I'm leaving.
That's even more bad news then, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get to, because everyone tried to blame the Book of Boba Fett on Kennedy and other people. That was Favreau that wrote every episode. Okay, people might have tampered with it and messed with it, but he's fundamentally, there was still no story there, and fundamentally it was still crap. So despite people having their little nitpicks and putting their things in, overall there wasn't nothing to save from it, to salvage from it, because it was rubbish. Then this comes out and they say Kathleen Kennedy had nothing to do with it, apparently. And that's what people have said. And if we're going by that, then it just proves that the arrogance is there.
Yeah, because there are very, very few creators that write and direct and produce, and it comes out at the end superb. There are very, very few. If we're going to use Star Wars as the example, the best one in that whole thing for me was Empire Strikes Back. Was it Irving Kershner who directed it? So was it Lucas writing it?
Yeah.
Irving Kershner directing it, and blah blah. Superb, absolutely superb. George Lucas is no auteur. You get your David Lynch's and your maybe Christopher Nolan. There are writer directors out there. Quentin Tarantino, I'm not a fan of. Really, I think he's just unlucky.
But then you get Nolan, who's delivered.
There are very, very few that write and direct and produce that come out fully complete. They're fully whole.
Yeah.
Whereas this series, it's just like everyone, Favreau's fault. Yeah, I can write, direct, I can do this, I can do that. No, you can't. But instead of KK, probably KK was going, yeah, I'm going to let him do this.
Probably,
Because it's no good.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that we know Favreau can write, we know Favreau can direct, but put them together.
Well, the latest rumor is that Favreau is not happy and he wants out. And if after season 3, I wouldn't be happy. And if I was Disney and Lucasfilm, I wouldn't be happy with Favreau at the moment either, to be fair.
But then why would he not be happy? Is he not happy because he had to put his name to it and it's not actually his work? Why, if it's his work and he did it, he's only got himself to blame.
I think that's the rumor. That's the rumor mill in Overdrive.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it is 100%. But I mean, where do you go? So you've got Mandalorian season 3 being this bad. How could you possibly greenlight a season 4? But
I think season 4 was greenlit long before this even came out.
But if it is, are we going to be in a Picard season 3 position where they go, the first 2 seasons of Picard are terrible, season 3 goes down really, really well? So it is possible to bring something back. Yeah, it is possible to bring something back.
It is.
Resurrection. Resurrection is possible.
That's what it would be called, Mandalorian Resurrection.
Yeah. So how can they bring it back? What do they need to do to bring it back?
I mean, my personal feeling is just go back to the format that they were using before. Have the single thread that is going to go through the entire season. Just have the one thread that they've got to go through the entire season. And then, just do your weekly episodes. To get this
I-
story moving, he's got to do that. He's
100%.
got to go there. The next week, he's got to do that, and he's got to go there. And next week, but they're separate stories.
100% agree.
Just
100% agree.
back to the old school weekly episodes.
They
have the one thread, but weekly episodes.
Almost a reboot. Almost a reboot. Like you forget series 3, and you go back to an adventure a week.
Yeah.
There is that one overarching. You've got the one thread that's going to
see you through the whole season.
8 episodes, right? You've got to get from point A on this line. You've got to get from point A to B, and that's that. And in the meanwhile,
you can have your little adventure there, but you have to do something with that thread that moves it forward.
Yeah,
fine, no problem, easy. Well, I'm not writing it, but yeah.
But then arguably that was the format of this season, because
there was so many threads. It was like a pom pom. They were just
But then, for example, the Lizzo episode
tied themselves in knots.
But the Lizzo episode, they've gone to that planet to try and get the more Mandalorians. But when they go there, they've got to go over and sort out this droid problem for no apparent reason to then get to the Mandalorians, which then potentially moves the story along. So they've done that this season.
No,
it didn't work.
No,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there was one. There was not one thread. There was about
definitely not one thread. There was too many. Yeah. There was too many
side quests. None of the side quests really connected with anyone. It couldn't connect. There was too many side quests, or there was too many threads. You've only got 8 episodes. If you've got too many threads, if you introduce the thread of Dr. Pershing in episode 3,
right?
Episode 2, you've got Bo-Katan, and you've got going down to Mandalore. That's your second thread. Fucking hell. Then you mention that there might be other Mandalorians down there. That's your third thread that they bring.
Right. So hear me out on this. Then.
Too many clotheslines and not enough pegs.
Yeah.
Right. So let's break down each episode. So you've got the opener, which is your reintroduction to it all. You got episode 2, which is Din bathing in the waters of Mandalore. We get a little glimpse of Mandalore, and we bring Din and Bo-Katan together, which then will move the story forward. We then get the opening of episode 3, them having this weird little chase, Bo-Katan's home getting blown up. Then we go into the Dr. Pershing bit in episode 3, which really all that does is serve to introduce short back and sides, and at the end we have Bo-Katan going into the clan. Episode 4, we've got Bo-Katan being accepted in the clan, which will then move it forwards in terms of she's now part of that clan. We then get episode 5 with the pirates, so then the Mandalorians have got this new home. We then get episode 6, where she goes to another planet where they then to get more Mandalorians, but in the meantime, in order to speak to those Mandalorians, they've got to save the droid, the people from the droids, and that's when we get Jack Black and Lizzo. And then they're all ready to go back to Navarro to regroup, to then go to Mandalore, to then get caught in a trap and take out Moff Gideon. So each episode does have a plot point that moves forward, but where
that's one thread that moves forward consistently.
That's one thread that moves forward consistently.
One of the several.
But where it went wrong,
you can tell what you've been doing all day, can't you?
No, but where it went wrong is the side quest aspect of it.
Yeah.
We got the one plot thread that moves forward. Literally, this is what it is. We got the one plot thread that moves forwards, but in order to get that bit done, we've got to go over here and do this. In order to get that done over there, we've got to go over there and do that. That's what we've just said that we need to do for season 4.
No, but what they're those threads are alluding to, they're going to tie into the main story, but they never do. Yeah. So go back to season 2, for instance. Season 2, he has his he has to go and see Bo-Katan to try and get the name of the Jedi so he can take Grogu to the Jedi. Bo-Katan says to him, yeah, that's fine. I'll give you the name, but help us get this ship. We need this ship to move forward with what the Mandalorian's doing. That thread comes back because they end up back with Bo-Katan. He just does his bit, gets Bo-Katan done, and then he's off. Later on, Bo-Katan's back with her people. And she's got the ship.
It's set up like a computer game.
What, this one or all of it?
All of it is set up like a computer game, but this one is set up like a bad computer game.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's set up like a computer game all the way through. You got to go here, before this person tells you this information, you got to go and do this for them, etc. It's done like it all the way
what
through.
I'm saying with season 4 is you have the one thread that runs through, and then the thread that you introduce in that episode is done in that episode. Yeah, so it comes, you literally tie it off by the end of that episode. That's it, done, dusted, finished, not coming back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You've got the one thread that is the long string, then you've got the little short strings. You're going to have 8 little short strings. That's it.
It's either character development or
that's it.
A bit of intrigue.
That's it.
Because I don't ever want everything explained.
No.
Unless
you want to find out from his morality through his actions, not
the one
saying, "Oh, I'm a good bloke."
The one, the one film we all fell in love with gave us more questions than answers.
Debbie Does Dallas.
No. Nuns with Guns, I was thinking about.
I'm sorry.
Come on, guys. Bring it. I do that stuff. Used to.
Sorry.
Clean.
Sorry. Rewind.
It was Nuns with Big Guns, by the way.
That's it.
Oh, was it? You noticed I was asleep. I didn't like it. It was boring.
Sorry, back on track. He's lost now. He's gone. The movie we fell in love with. The movie we fell in love with.
Yeah.
Had more questions.
It didn't offer us an answer to everything, did it?
No.
Where were the Jedi? Like Tatooine. Where is that? Like Mos Eisley. Oh my God, is it all full of pirates? I don't know. Han Solo. Where's he from? Darth Vader. Oh my God. Yeah. You've just given us a clue. Now, every single thing.
But that was written as a single episode, remember? Even though George Lucas had the idea for the trilogy, he wasn't sure he was going to get the budget for all of them. So he just thought, how can I do one of those stories? That's it.
It was a mashup. My point being, we don't need explaining every single step of the way. But at the moment, it seems like they're bogged down in just stopping. Everything pauses. If there's always a pause where someone's got to explain, as if, like what you were saying earlier, Taters, where someone above saying, right, I don't think the 6-year-olds will understand what's going on now unless we give them exposition about what's gone on and then but I think from what that does is it cracks everything. That those pauses, then they turn them into episodes explaining stuff, which is where we get in episode 3. That's where you get that episode 3, which is explaining.
Yeah.
But for
38 minutes.
An entire episode to explain what essentially is, that could have been done in 5 minutes. Anyway.
You didn't even need it.
No,
that's the craziest thing. You didn't come back to play a part at all.
That's the point. The whole point of that episode was to tell us that Moff Gideon needed Pershing's mind wiped, just in case he shared the cloning technology with anybody else.
There was no editing.
That was not 38 minutes of information.
No, there's no editing series 3 differently to give a cohesive whole.
No.
It's so disparate in all the episodes. It's such a complete mess. I think only more cameos, because what they are doing in Marvel is doing cameos to good effect.
We had Jack Black and Lizzo.
Yeah, but what other cameos? But I don't think that was enough. I think they could have done better than that.
Right now,
what cameos do we think?
I would have.
I know this is a Liz question, but I love this question.
I would have loved to see. Let's think. Who could we have? We could have Spock.
Captain Marvel.
No, Spock. Spock with his live long and prosper, and this is the way. Live long and prosper, but this is the way. But live long and prosper. No, but this is the way. but live long and prosper. It's or even Jean-Luc Picard. Make
John
it
Prescott.
So. This is the
John,
way. Make it
John
so.
Prescott.
John Prescott.
Pizza the Hut.
I don't know. I didn't think
the ginger one from Girls Aloud.
Who?
The ginger one from Girls Aloud.
Oh, what, Ginger Spice?
Jerry Halliwell.
Jerry. Oh,
no, I tell you what, in the Jack Black and Lizzo episode,
you need some proper arm around
in the Jack Black and Lizzo episode, we could have had
Joey Essex.
Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty pop up.
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty in the
Jeremy Clarkson
would have been good. Jeremy Clarkson. I think the one that they missed, that they set up really nicely, that they missed, was in the end of that last episode, where it comes down to that little circle, Porky Pig. But that's all, folks. That was it. That's the one that they missed. That's the one that they could have had, that they actually set up, but they chose to ignore it.
I think for me, and this guy can do a cameo in any franchise, anywhere, at any time, is Brian Blessed.
Brian Blessed.
Yeah.
You bastards! Like, he could have been the pirate captain going, you bastards! And that's the Mandalorian, you bastard! He was calling.
Joe Pasquale.
And the other one.
Oh, God.
And also Rowan Atkinson.
Hang on. Mr. Bean, Johnny English.
Yeah.
Who are we getting?
Yeah, no, I just think Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you what, he could be the voice of Grogu. What? No. Grogu? No. Yes. No. No. What's your name? Grogu.
Yeah. Din Grogu.
Oh no, Lord Din Grogu.
Bear with me, chaps. I just got to shoot off and deal with something. I'll be back in a second.
Go on, mate. We'll talk about you while you're gone.
Yeah, Brian Blessed's a good one, or Mr. Bean. That's good.
Because he was what character was he like? He was, wasn't he?
Oh, he was the Gungan man in the first one, wasn't he? The head of the Gungans, yeah.
But
he would have worked.
I'd love to see someone do the CGI especially. Because it was always you bastards, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
But what happened to the Mythosaur?
Oh, you saw him at the end?
Yeah, but
he's just looking around.
But so what? You know that episode where Grogu is in the spaceship going, "Eh," and he's looking at the space narwhals.
Yeah.
That didn't go nowhere, did it? Why show it?
No, that's a.
Show it if
I think that's a fan service thing for people that know what they are from Rebels. I think that's all it is.
Why?
Yeah, I know.
Why?
I know.
There's so much fan service that could add to the story, because I thought the narwhals might have been connected to the mythosaurs, and that was intriguing for me. But it went nowhere.
Well,
what happened to R5 after this series?
Yeah,
they show old Bin Jarwin and Grogu on Little House on Prairie. They go to Navarro. He's got his crib now.
Yeah,
and they tie everything.
It's a lovely porch, though, isn't it?
R5. What about R5? Where's he gone? I thought R5. I think R5 should be there in his crib.
Well, it was a lovely porch. I was expecting a barbecue, to be honest.
Yeah, there will be a barbecue. They're going to barbecue that fucking frog, aren't they?
Or just barbecue Grogu, get it over and done with.
Oh, that's harsh. Oh, wow, that's harsh. Only an alien can get away with saying that on my channel.
Old Grogu.
Well, no, they did it in Last Jedi, didn't they? They're those like cute little bastards from on the island with Luke. Chewie's got one on the spit roast, hasn't he? Yeah, the porgs. Yeah, Chewie's got one on the spit roast, hasn't he?
Yeah. Roast, you say?
Or a hog roast?
The bastards.
But no, I just don't see how they're gonna sort of entice people back. It would be something that's through word of mouth. So when season 4 does eventually come out, if they're gonna do it, the first episode, 2 episodes are gonna be very low ratings. But then I think if it is good, the word of mouth will come around and people will start going, oh, okay, I'll tune back in. And it almost be like that Picard season 3 sort of aspect of it.
I hope so.
I'm just gutted that this season has been this bad. Season 1 and 2, I did enjoy. There was issues with it. Was it the best thing ever? No, but I still enjoyed it. And for me, I think my Mandalorian is just season 1 and 2. The story ends there when he passes off to Grogu, off to Luke Skywalker, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice bookend, nice little story end. Yeah, I think that's my Mandalorian story.
And also, shouldn't Grogu have a helmet now?
Well, not yet. No.
Why?
Because not yet. Because he only just adopted him, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah, and he's got his like Terminator tank thing that he drives now.
What about the kid that was being baptized in episode 1 and he's still in the water in episode 8?
Well, Grogu hadn't been baptized yet.
That's Jimmy Kimmel's son, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's his nephew. It's his nephew.
Another cameo. Because he's a really good actor.
But he was in Book of Boba Fett as well.
Oh, great.
He was one of the Sand People kids.
But he's got a helmet. We see Jimmy Kimmel's niece's helmet.
Okay.
So why don't we see Grogu's helmet? I want to see it.
I bet you do.
There's
There's
nothing there, mate.
He's adopted.
You got to lift his little sandbag up.
And what was it when he was adopted? You're now going to be known as Din Grogu. Shouldn't it be Grogu Jaren?
Don't know. I'm not sure how that works.
And the way that the armourer just went, all right then.
Yeah.
Right. So I pointed this out earlier in the week.
ID.
I pointed this out earlier in the week to Hog.
To be sorted.
Every conversation he has with the armourer, he asks for something. The armourer goes, "No, that's not how we do things." Then he goes, and then he basically finds a loophole and goes, "What about this?" And she goes, "This is the way."
Oh yeah.
Every scene, it's like the beginning of the season, the opening thing of the season, when he goes, I need to redeem myself. I need to bathe in the waters of Mandalore. She goes, well, the waters of Mandalore don't exist. But what if they do? Well, then you can bathe in the waters of Mandalore and redeem yourself. So he always tries to find loopholes. It's a pointless conversation, just like it is at the end. Why don't you just come in and go, I've adopted him as my own. Can he be put into the creed?
He's
like
sneaky.
it just.
He's sneaky.
Yeah, he just comes up with loopholes every single time.
I think so. He covered all his bases with the loopholes before he even started. So he was just gonna just roll with it, and
this is the way.
Like, oh shit,
this is the way. Yeah.
So the next season is he's gonna be a solicitor. He's gonna work in a court. He's going to be the Mandalorian go-to when they're having problems with like adoption and stuff.
I think IG-11's going to have a meltdown and murder someone. And then the Mandalorian solicitor.
Yeah.
To be fair though, in this new Republic, I'd want to work for the Republic. I would want to work in the Republic, mate, on that party world, because they don't do bugger all. They just sit in the bar the whole time.
Oh, is that what Jack Black and Space Lizard?
No, the what do you call it? The X-wing fighters. They're just on party world. Where's Zeb turned up?
Yeah.
On the beach planet party world.
The bar,
yeah. They never work. They just sit in the bar drinking, chilling.
He's still in the bar, that bloke, isn't he? Yeah. Like, he turns up with in the end, and he's still in the bar. I thought that's the job, isn't it?
That's the one.
Wander around in an X-wing every now and again. You having a drink in the bar, beach planet. You got the sun out there. You've got all the deck chairs outside. Oh.
Party world, man. Party world.
That's it. Like Iron Napper, but in space.
Planet Iron Napper.
That's it.
Let's plot a course to Iron Napper, Grogu.
Fuck yeah.
That's the next thing, isn't it? There's going to be a scene where they go into a bar or something, and there's music, and you see Grogu fucking dancing.
DJ.
That'll be the next. Yeah, that'll be the next meme.
DJ.
Yeah, there'll be something. DJ Grogu.
That's it.
Yeah. My name is Grogu. Oh, there's nothing more. There's nothing more. And he might get his helmet out.
I'm wondering if they're going to do anything with the Mythosaur in the next season. Is the Mythosaur done? Was that again? Is that one of those threads that isn't going anywhere?
No,
probably.
There were loads of threads that don't go anywhere. Short back and sides.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah.
R5. No one cares. Space narwhals. No one cares. Mythosaur.
Right. The thing with the Purgils were just a mechanism of showing Purgils. That was it.
What?
No, that's just again. That's for people like me. That's for people like me that watch Rebels, know what the Purgils mean, and it's just an Easter egg. There's nothing wrong with Easter eggs. Have the Easter eggs in as long as they don't detract from the storyline.
But they did.
But they did. Well, no, they didn't really detract. You were excited by them. So, you know.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Because I thought,
wow, that's cool. Yeah.
That's a really interesting
space animal
concept.
thing.
But
yeah.
what you're saying is they showed you a shiny thing for a minute. And
pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. Woo.
A bit like Zeb. It was like, oh my God, it's not action.
It's just a little Easter egg.
I can't take it. I can see narwhals. I can see Zeb in live action.
And a loaf cat.
6 hours later, you're on a settee with all crisp bags on the settee, and you've got all the crumbs down your belly, and you're going, was that it?
I was crying.
Yeah.
I was crying. No, but crying with laughter.
Again, because of peanuts at the screen, trying to get.
I was crying with laughter purely because of that closing shot, that transition with the Looney Tunes.
Oh, that was the ultimate mistake, wasn't it?
Absolutely slaughtered me. That was all I saw was the Looney Tunes ending. It was just like
it was horrendous.
I said to Liz as well, like when they were doing that last scene, I mean, Mando should have had a banjo. It was like it really should have been
the Mando banjo.
It was like. But, but seeing that closing transition, oh my God, that was so funny. Well, and for me, that rounded out the season nicely. This was the intent. Let's finish it like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's just like it worked.
The problem they've got now is so Filoni's announced that movie. So we've had Book of Boba Fett, which was terrible. We've had Kenobi, which was terrible. We had Andor, which thought, oh, that's going in the right direction, but ultimately it was boring. Yeah. And then you've got Mando season 3, which has been just as bad.
Yeah.
Moving forwards, Filoni's announced this movie. That movie.
It's going to wrap it all up.
That's going to wrap it all up. But you've lost your audience already. Ahsoka, no matter how good it is,
that movie could be Jon Favreau in front of a shooting thing.
But what I'm saying is you've lost. No one cares about Boba Fett anymore. No one cares about Mando anymore or Grogu anymore. Ahsoka is the only little thread that you've got left.
It's hanging on Ahsoka at the moment.
And the way they're going, I don't think they're going to get anything from that. But you've then got Filoni's movie, which is going to have to tie it all up, in which you're sort of pitching it as it's going to tie up this era. It's going to tie up the threads from Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Boba Fett. I don't know what threads are left in Boba Fett apart from the crime world side of it. But no one cares about these characters. No one cares about these characters anymore. So how's your movie going? How can you, if people don't even tune into their Disney Plus subscription to view it, how do you expect them to go to the cinema?
And 11, but you're right. But 11 years ago, who would have thought that any one of us would have said, no one cares about Boba Fett anymore?
Yeah. 11 years ago? Jesus Christ, it's probably what? 11 months ago. How long ago? I can't even remember when it came out. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Who would have thought that we'd get to the point where we're all literally, we love the stuff so much, but
bring back the
it's all
Ewoks. Man.
complicated. It's all complicated on the production side because
Yeah.
I think there are talented people. Definitely the CGI.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I'm going to bring it back round positive because the CGI looked absolutely mega in this. Apart from that one, all the 66 episode with a green screen behind him and the stupid dialogue.
And what a letdown that was as well.
But again, why would that be in between all the good scenes of all the Mandalorian ships and the mercenary Mandalorian stuff and all that? All the CGI and the special effects were on point. Except even like the dinosaur in the episode 1 or 2, whatever it was, and the big bird. Even all that stuff, it was all done really well. But it was the dialogue going, "He's alive," and the kid going, "Help me." But he's regurgitating it up, going.
Well, see that. So that scene.
That was
so
shocking.
I watched.
Shocking.
I told you I rewatched.
Very well accomplished.
Yeah.
In the special effects department, I thought.
But that's like a copy. They did the scene in season 2 where Din goes down the throat of the big dragon thing.
Oh,
and he comes out covered in mucus and all shit. And...
Steady, I don't remember that. What did he do again? What does he do?
You just mentioned all the 66.
The crate dragon. The crate dragon. They blow up the crate dragon from the inside out, basically.
Oh, is it the soup dragon?
That's the one. The
soup
dragon.
But you just mentioned all the 66. Of all the things that this mystery they did of building who saved Grogu from all the 66.
Who saved Grogu?
No, but it was a mystery. How did he survive all the 66?
Yeah.
And you give us that. It was shocking. Of all the things you could have done, of all the Jedi you could have put in there, that's the ones that saved him. Nothing.
Well, apparently, this Keller and Beck's got a backstory. I must have been asleep because I've never even heard it referenced.
No, it's a character that's been made for this show. It's not. There's no back. They're now trying to retcon a backstory to try and make it seem relevant.
I'd never even heard of Keller and Beck.
No. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Just if it could have just had some oomph.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone.
Never mind.
Yeah, I'll just.
Yeah, never mind.
Never mind.
I'll tell you what, that is the perfect epitaph.
Never mind.
Season 3. Never mind.
No, that's all, folks. that's the end. That's all, folks. That's one. That's the cameo, Porky Pig, just coming in right at the end there.
Yeah, or Daffy Duck. No, I'll tell you what, the perfect cameo, Duck Dodgers.
Duck Dodgers.
Little Marvin.
24th and a half century.
Little Marvin comes in and punches Grogu straight in the face.
Yeah. To be fair, though, of all the big creatures,
I claim this planet in the name of the Mandalorian. Isn't that lovely? What was the guy? Yeah, the disintegrator.
Oh yeah, and his reintegrator. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh, rabbit holes.
I claim this planet in the name of R5D4.
Yeah.
To be fair, of all the giant animals and monsters they've introduced in this season, so you got the mythosaur, you got the purgles, you've got the crocodile turtle thing, you've got the pterodactyl, you've got the other random monster that was on the surface of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could literally have like Godzilla versus Kong style battle. And throw the Rancor in there as well. Oh my god, mate! We've got space monsters.
It would be Mandalore Park. Mandalore Park.
Jurassic Park crossover.
Thank you, Mandalore Park.
Yeah.
Mandalore Park.
Oh yeah, I just don't understand what they were going with that.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, and they have to go to the requisitions people to learn how to do admin.
That was great. That was. I'm only the requisitions manager. So why did that pilot go there to see him? And why is Shortback and Sides working for the requisitions department?
Yeah.
Who knows?
At what point does that allow Yeah.
And where is the probe droid hiding in Coruscant? I mean, I kind of know that they've got the Imperial cruisers Rex in the middle of Coruscant, all powered up. They've left the electric on, so kids can go and play inside.
Yeah.
But where, this probe droid, it was in a back alley, wasn't it? And it's like, short back and sides was sneaking around with her collars up, wasn't she? Going,
yeah,
with her hat on as well, with her fedora, like. And then she gets to the proper darkest alley of the darkest alleys, and then it's all quiet, and then this probe droid goes, boo, dude, dude. And she's still looking. It's all noisy. It's coming down, descending. And she's still looking behind her as if to say, oh, no one can hear us. This fucking probe droid, they're massive.
Yep. It was a big alley.
What's he got? An apartment? He's got an apartment on Coruscant?
Probably.
Where does a probe droid hide?
Down dark alleys.
Another unanswered question.
I think they should do a whole spin-off. I think they should do a whole spin-off for that probe droid. We see him leave that scene. He goes home to his wife and kids, and he's got little probe droids.
I do like
or something
show like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but it's probe droids,
or something like Friends, a Coruscant coffee shop where they all get together regularly.
Oh yeah, you go short back in size, the probe droid.
That's it.
Probe dude.
That's it.
Bin Jari and Moff Gideon.
That's it.
Clone.
Yeah.
Another question. Talking about clones quickly. Another question. How do you clone the Force? So he's made clones, but he's managed to put the Force into him, is what he said at the end.
He was trying to put the Force into him.
But how does that work?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it doesn't. Obviously it didn't.
I thought it was all about midichlorians, whatever it is. Like,
well, that's it. Yeah, these tiny little things that live in your blood.
That made sense within the sphere of what we're all talking about, George Lucas's, marvelous creations. When it was when it still did make a loose kind of sense. It didn't have to make 100% sense. It had to sound half sensible, and we got an adventure story on the back of it. Yeah. So when they talk about midichlorians, can you imagine Dismal doing the sequel trilogy now?
Oh, it'd be 10 times worse than what we got. That was bad.
That would be 18 series now. That amount of story. Imagine you think of what kind of the amount of storytelling we got in Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, and this series 3 is nothing, is it? That would have taken 5 minutes in one of the sequel trilogy films. I'm not even talking about the original trilogy now.
Yeah,
just talking about pure George Lucas being let loose. He did cram it in, as the actress said to the bishop, but he did. You imagine them doing that at getting that idea from Lucas, and they go, "No, it's all right, Georgie boy.
We got this.
We've got this. We got this, mate. We know what you're talking about, but I think we can do this better."
Yeah. One thread? No, we're going to have 50. We're going to make a tapestry.
Imagine that.
I must admit, the one thing I'm looking forward to is normally they release the galleries, don't they? Once about a month or so later, and the galleries behind the scenes stuff, they do it for each season, and they are quite interesting.
I think for this one they're renaming it the Guillotine.
Yeah, yeah. Because I would love
whose head's on the chopping block this time.
I would love to see the behind the scenes of this season in the form of the gallery to see what the hell they were thinking.
It's 6 episodes of them going, no, that was him, not me, nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk.
No, fuck all. Star Wars, what are you talking about?
But when you wait, I think the length of time it took to get this season, then when this season is what it was, that they've lost all their fans. I don't think people are going to be bothering to wait. It's only through the couple of loyal ones. If the next season does get better, word of mouth, it'll be like a Picard thing. But
Yeah,
I can't see it happening.
It's got to be, haven't it? It's got to be.
And in terms of if you're trying to set it up for a film, Mando's story for a film is technically kind of the perfect position you'd want him in. He's going off on adventures that are unspecified. He's with Grogu. He's achieved what he wanted to achieve with getting the Mandalorians back together. He's in the perfect place, ready to bounce straight into a movie in a weird way. Because you could do nothing else now and just have that movie come out after Ahsoka, and you don't need to know anything else. It's done. But then you could have had that at the end of season 2. I kind of feel like season 3 is just the season of filler. That's all it is.
Yeah. There's some cool scenes. How do we write some stuff around these cool scenes?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's literally all it is.
The movie's intriguing because it's what are they actually going to do to wrap that? What's the movie going to do to wrap it? Obviously, it's going to be, I can see the Mandalorian people all coming back together. But beyond that, with the addition of Boba Fett, with the addition of Ahsoka, obviously Thrawn, have they wiped out the sequel trilogy? Is there going to be a First Order, or is that going to be ignored? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions.
I think that film will be Mando, Ahsoka, the rest of the Mandalorians, Boba, like the criminal underworld from Boba Fett, maybe Luke, and he's on the verge of bringing the Empire back because he's the heir to the Empire, and they take him out, and that leaves that leaves it clear for the sequel trilogy. They're not going to erase it. They're there. They're not going to try and erase those sequels. They're there to stay.
You see, the question I have at this point with the Thrawn thing, the storyline with Thrawn, is he trying to bring the Empire back? Because when they had the books, the trilogy, the Timothy Zahn trilogy, part of the Thrawn's story was he's not interested in the Empire. He's very self-serving towards the Chiss, his own species. And the only reason he does what he does is because it benefits the Chiss. So is he, because in that Ahsoka trailer, we see that ship, that sort of like the, whatever you call it, the captain's chair on that ship. That's not an Empire ship. That's not part of the Empire. That's not their technology. Is he fighting for the Chiss? Are we going to get like a crossover battle, like a freeway battle? The Mandalorians, Thrawn, and what it will be the First Order all fighting together. I don't know. Again, there's a lot of questions, but we got to sit and wait and see and
defrost Darth Malgus from Carbonite, mate.
Yeah, no, the Darth Malgus storyline is good. Yeah, that could. Yeah, it's. There's a lot hanging on Ahsoka, as we've said before. There's a lot hanging there. We got to wait and see what she does.
Yeah.
When's that? It's August, isn't it?
August 25th. August 25th.
And
how many episodes?
I'm still saying, on record, that all of those announcements for those films, whether it's the Ray one, the Filoni one, I just can't see why.
You think it's smoke?
Yeah, I just can't see why and how. To be fair,
the how I can definitely with you. Until they get their money, there's no how. The why, we need to keep people ticking over.
I mean, at this point, with just the company as it stands, I can't see there being a Star Wars film.
I'll be honest with you. I
hope
you
aren't going to see a Star Wars film.
Star Wars is taken off of Disney. I hope someone comes and someone with the right mindset and the right idea and the right.
I also still think that they're going to sell it off.
And I hope the person that buys it is a Star Wars person, someone that actually likes Star Wars.
Also, that's just my personal opinion based on nothing. I've got no business men on Wall Street or anything like that, but it just with business, they're on such a downward spiral that if any one of us was at the head of that particular business, you'd think, well, how am I going to save? You know, what rotten branch can I cut off to save the whole?
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be marked for some, I don't know why, but again, this is why it's a very, very personal thing. For some reason, I can't see him detaching himself from Marvel.
There's too much involved in Marvel, though, isn't there? There's a lot of meat on that bone. There's so many characters.
Success, and they've had so much more success with that.
And I mean, how many of the characters have they actually run through?
Yeah, not a lot.
Many,
they
not a lot.
Touched the surface yet. Whereas Star Wars, they fucked it all so far, haven't they?
Because they're having to invent new characters.
Yeah, they've just managed to just destroy the whole thing. I can't help thinking, let's see how right I am. But if I'm not right and they don't sell it, we aren't seeing a Star Wars film for at least 5 years.
No.
Yeah.
Even if they started writing it. And I know they're saying that the bloke from Peaky Blinders is writing one for Iggy Biggy Woggy, who's going to direct.
Which bloke from Peaky Blinders?
What's that?
Which bloke from Peaky Blinders?
The writer. Is it Knight? Stephen Knight, is it?
Did they confirm it was definitely the writer? It's not the cameraman or the sound guy?
Yeah, no, they confirmed
the writer from
writer.
It's the right, okay.
And Iggy Biggy Woogie is
with the way they've been giving jobs out recently. I just thought they might he was the bloke that picked up the rubbish in the car park. He's writing it. It's like...
You might as well. To be fair, if he's a Star Wars fan, he's probably got, like us lot, he's got 25 more ideas than the people they're employing.
Yeah.
He's got 25 better ideas for a Star Wars film than the bloke from Peaky Blinders, but at least he's an adult. He's a grown-up. I think we had this, I don't know if it was me and you, Liz, it was having this conversation where I said, at least they're getting grown-ups in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're still not the right, it just ain't the right fit still.
No. And that's the thing. Their recent announcements of the 3 films is literally a safety net. Let's do a cover all bases approach. Let's do one in the past, one in the future, and one now to wrap this bit up of what we're doing. It's so safe, and then whatever one does the best, that's what we're going to go with. But the problem is with the one in the future, they're doing it with a character that no one likes. With the one in the past, they're going too far back, and then they've lost all the fans from this season of Mandalorian and what happened with Boba Fett for the present day sort of film with Filoni. So all of these films are already in a dire situation as it is. Before anything's even done, just on the concepts and basically of what they've told us.
I mean, I think 25,000 years is a long way back.
It's too far. 3,000 Sith Republic.
Yeah.
Sith versus the Jedi.
Yeah.
You don't need to know the origins of the Force. You don't need to know that. It takes away the mystery.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just leave that mystery. Just leave us something. Sometimes things are best left to the imagination.
Yeah,
like Boba Fett.
In a horror film, sometimes, when
Boba Fett
you're getting murdered, well, leave all the Star Wars series to imagination. Yeah.
Could you imagine if Boba Fett, they just he got his armor back from Din and just, thanks, bye. That was it.
I think the Jackson movie.
Absolutely.
The rest of the bounty hunters.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about bounty hunters. You know, I as a fan, I would love to see an Embo movie. I'd love to, or not a movie, even a series. I'd love to see the bounty hunters on telly. I'd love to see that. Yeah. But Embo centric. I do love Embo. I think that's one of the best bounty hunters there is.
The comic book stuff that they've done with the bounty hunters, superb. All the comic, by and large, not all the comics, but a lot of the comic stuff.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't completely translate. It doesn't mean because it makes a good few issues of a comic, it doesn't necessarily make that a good TV or film series. But the imagination, the inventiveness, and new characters, and just the little links, just one little link. Like Rogue One is the best template. That it just had that one link.
Yeah.
That the story didn't rely on.
No, that's it.
This could have been a mission to destroy anything within the end.
That one link was for the fanboys, definitely. Yeah. That one link was for everyone to go, fuck yes.
That could have been to destroy a base on an Imperial base on a planet anywhere, couldn't it? But no, they tied it into the Death Star.
Yeah.
It was just nicely. Just calm. Good
we can have a Rogue 2 with the Boffin Spies.
You can't have a Rogue 2. You can't have a Rogue 2.
Boffin Spies from Return of the Jedi. Many Boffin Spies
hang on. Are you talking about a catering shop? Boffin's Pies? We're going to have a sitcom based in a catering shop on an alien planet.
No, Taters, I still think the one thing they missed at Celebration was the Ahsoka tacos.
Oh yeah, Ahsoka tacos. Yeah.
I sent the Taters when we was at Celebration, Liz. I went, I don't know why there isn't anyone here selling
Ahsoka tacos.
Because
they'd have sold out. They'd have done well that weekend.
Just these special little bags with her face on it and Ahsoka tacos.
Oh, bloody hell.
Anyway,
how many beers did you have at that point?
No, I only had a couple. I was sober. I was happy. You know, just picture this. Picture this.
It's typical. It's typical, sort of like the con. You get that adrenaline from the con.
Do, yeah. To be fair, you're not going there to hate on anything.
No.
Like, and not that this is, you know, what we always talk about. It comes from a place of love because
it's critique.
We're dissatisfied with the shit that they're doing, but it doesn't come from hate. If we hated it all,
wouldn't care.
We wouldn't be bothered, would we? We'd just go, oh, look at that shit over there. But because we love it, it's like, oh, you've got to do it. It's got to be better than this. It's got to be. But anyway, Celebration. It was like, yeah, you can't help but get swept up in the whole thing. It was just love. Everything is, you know, so many people are happy with it all, and it's a shame that certain people within this corporation called Dismal Minus cannot respect that. They can't respect it. They can't.
So let's end on the ranking.
They put themselves and their thoughts and feelings and agendas and ideas first before good storytelling.
Let's end on the ranking out of 10.
See, I thought you was going back to Boba Fett, end on a rancor. Sorry. I misheard you, baby. Let's end on the ranking for the season.
This season out of 10.
7.
7?
7.
That's a good score.
Just because of all the cool scenes.
No way.
No. You're allowed to think differently.
4.
I was going to say 4. Oh, yeah, 3.5, 4.
Shit. They wasn't even halfway there. Because the first 2 episodes were good. So out of 8, that's a quarter.
Guys, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna have to dash.
All right. No, but that is a good. I think we've done.
That's a good
best
point.
We can do as an overview. So thank you both.
No worries.
Anytime.
We will end it there.
Yes.
And thanks again, guys. And I'll see you on the next hogCAST.
Definitely.
Night.
See you then. Take care, chaps.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Eh?